All right. Good evening, everyone. Thank you for attending this special OMBGA committee meeting for today, Thursday, February 18th, 2021. My name is Councilman TJ Clark. I serve as the committee's chair, as well as the majority leader for our city council. And we are joined by Council President Mally Rosado, who's also the co-chair. And voting member. We are joined by Councilwoman Shirley Surgeon, who is a voting member. And we are joined by Councilman James Sanchez and Nick LeBron, who likes to join the OMBGA committee meeting. However, they're not voting members. We also are joined by Randall Davis from our Deputy Director from Department of Development Services, our Corporation Counsel, Howard Rifkin, our City's Engineer, Frank De La Repa, our Acting Deputy Director for the Department of Public Works, Patrell Mailer, and we also are joined by Councilman John Gale, who is a voting member of this committee. So we are also streaming live from HPA-TV.org. Thank you and hello to all the viewing members tonight. And you can also view us at Channel 96 for Comcast and Xfinity customers. That is a mouthful. If there is no objection, we're just going to take a few items out of order, and we're going to start with item number 4 on our agenda, which is Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution authorizing the city to accept a $590,000 repairs to the City of Hartford's traffic signalization system from the State Department of Economic and Community Development, which is item 2 on the council's January 25th agenda. And so I believe we have representatives from Department of Public Works. No, is it Department of Public Works or DECD? I'm sorry, the DDS that's going to be presenting for us.
Councilman Frank De La Repa, City Engineer. I was going to speak to the traffic signal.
All right, you have the floor, sir.
Okay. Good evening, everyone. Can everybody hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
DCD recently sent an email to our department about the $590,000 available for traffic signal improvements. So where could we really use that money? And I want to just give you a little history of how we're approaching all our traffic signal issues in the city. We have about 220 intersections that have traffic signals. And we just completed a contract, we call it phase 1, where we installed about 101 new, the traffic signal cabinets that you can watch at every intersection. We installed 101 new traffic signal communications inside those cabinets. Some of the key intersections have cameras up on the poles. These are not the same cameras that HPD uses. These are used by traffic engineers to determine, the sequencing of green and red. It's in the old embedded in the asphalt. You have the old embedded lines. Those go away, and we use modern technology. Also, part of that contract of the 101 traffic control signals, we had 22 cameras. We only used the cameras in specific intersections, okay? And we thought it would be a good idea to use that money to add more cameras. Can probably, out of that 590,000, get another 29 cameras, we estimated, in those 101 areas that we just completed. And also, if you ever get a chance to come down to our at 50 Jennings, we have what I call a command center. It's similar to C4, but it's flat screens that you can see these intersections. And so we thought the 590, a good use of that 590,000 for additional cameras. And that's our request to you folks. Any questions?
Thank you, Mr. Dillarippa. We just had, you were bouncing in and out, hopefully all the rest of my colleagues heard your presentation.
I can call in if they want.
Yes, just in case I'll it doesn't matter to me. It's just I want to make sure that the rest of my members, the members of the committee, are comfortable with hearing you. So I think you're fine. Just a few questions on my part regarding the traffic signalization. Now, would that mean too that the traffic lights will be more in sync? Because we recognize one of the intersections or areas that is very clear to me that where the lights are not in sync are around the Garden Street, Asylum, Farmington Avenue area going into Broad Street.
Okay, I'm just writing this down. Garden, you went out. I also lost your voice. You said Garden and where else?
Garden, so the intersections of Garden and Asylum. And then Asylum when it transitions to Broad Street.
Okay.
That's Farmington, the Farmington Avenue intersection as well.
No, the cameras, well, first of all, new controls in these cabinets help us with the synchronization, number one. And I think the cameras as well will help with that synchronization, but it's mostly, we get to view that from the camera. But the new modern technology inside these cameras and the cabinets will help us with the synchronization. I don't know though, Councilman, if we're on those particular intersections. That would have another 119 to do, which is another contract, and it could be in the new contract. I'm not sure. I'd have to check. Okay,
if you can check, that'll be great. I remember when myself, Councilman Gale, and Councilman Sanchez, we were on the previous council. We had submitted an ordinance, passed an ordinance for don't block the box, and that intersection on Asylum, the Asylum Avenue area, Farmington Avenue area, was one of the areas where we had put that in the ordinance because that creates a huge bottleneck, and those lights right there are not in sync at all. And so that always causes a huge traffic jam, not to mention too the downtown, the downtown area by the Yard Goat Stadium, taking a left onto Morgan Street, I think that is, to 84 and 91. That area as well creates a bottleneck within itself, which is one of the areas that we also had put on there to not block the box with. So if those aren't those particular intersections, and there are others, but those are the two that come to mind. If they're not on going to be a part of this current grant, would love to know if they are going to be a part of another grant, so we can take a look at and how that we can eliminate those bottlenecks.
Understood.
I open the floor to my other colleagues that have questions for Mr. Dillarippa. Councilman Gale.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Good evening, Mr. Dillarippa. Two questions for you. Just following up on the chair's question, is this an automatic synchronization? The cameras can sense the traffic and they will automatically resynchronize the traffic lights, or does this just give you information so that you guys, some real person is changing the synchronization?
Well, I think it's both, sir. We can, the camera can detect the traffic flow, but we can also program it, to do a certain synchronization.
So the camera can see that there's a lot of traffic backing up at the light, and it can speed up the cycle to try to get that traffic through?
That understanding.
Fantastic. Second question, if we ever went to, I forget what it's called, something like, I don't know if it's license plate technology. I don't know. There's something, where they read the license plates like New York City has. If we ever went to that kind of thing, are these cameras set up to do that, or would we have to buy some other technology in order to do that?
I don't think these cameras are set up to do that, but I bet you the cameras are.
Say it again?
I think the police cameras may be able to do that. It's
Okay, but not these. Okay.
Right.
All right, thanks very much. That's all I have.
Any other questions from my colleagues?
John asked my question. Thank you, John, regarding the synchronization. So I'm good. I'm good with that. Just one question. When do we think we may get an additional, or when do you think you may apply for additional grant to finish the other 100 intersections?
Councilwoman, we actually have the money. We went out to bid the very high. So we have to go back and reevaluate. We're gonna rebid it, but I got to figure out what to do to get it under a certain number. The prices came in very, very, very high. And not everybody could bid on it. We only got one bidder, and we don't understand why. So we're rethinking all of that. But there's about 119 left to do. We'll get it done. We'll get it done.
But is that in the budget, or is that going to be a special grant again from DCD?
We have money in the budget, and not all comes from DCD, by the way, just so you know. I believe the 100 coming from the state, and they get their money from the Federal Highway Administration. But like I said, we only had one bidder. They were high, so we need to rethink how we can get more bidders to get a better. Did that answer your question, ma'am?
Yes, Mr. DeRipper. Thank you so very much, sir.
I just have a quick question. Who is the entity that received the winning bid or bidded on this contract?
I'm sorry, Councilman. I'm getting a thing on my screen that I have a bad internet connection. I'm sorry. What was your question?
You said that there was one bid for this?
Yes, sir.
So who was that person that bidded?
So Rizzo Construction.
Got you. And where they based on?
I want you to understand that the work inside these cabinets is a specialty. So Rizzo, the company that we previously used on the other 100 cabinets. So it was strange how that all came about. We got to rebid it.
Okay, so in your estimation for the rebid, how long is that going to take? How long is the RFP going to be out to the release to the public?
We're probably going to rebid it in the next couple of months. So we want the work to start this year, it's calendar year.
You have an estimate as to when you want to begin construction? Would it be this fiscal year, or would it be for the fiscal year 21-22?
Well, I would think the construction calendar year July, so fiscal year 22.
Okay.
By the time it gets awarded and all that.
Gotcha. Any other of my colleagues have questions for Mr. DeRipper?
I'm good.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion.
Motion to.
Sorry, go ahead, Councilwoman Surgeon. Councilwoman Surgeon, go ahead.
Sorry, I thought somebody else was making the motion. A motion to approve the receiving of the $590,000 for repairs for the traffic signal light from the Department of DCD. Favorably.
Councilman Gale, the motion has been made by Councilwoman Surgeon as a favorable recommendation. Councilman Gale seconded. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, let all signify their affirmation by saying aye.
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 Right.
I had a quick question. I apologize. This is not a time sensitive item, is it?
That question to to me, they came to me saying, listen, we have this money that nobody's been asking for, so you need to get it now. So when you say time sensitive, this is why I put it towards, I want to move on this and get these cameras going.
Okay, thank you, Mr.
You're
Miller.
welcome.
Okay,
Okay, so all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposals or extensions? Seeing none, hearing none, the ayes have it. This item is now passed to the next council meeting with a favorable recommendation. Moving on, and also want to recognize, thank you. I want to recognize Councilwoman Rodelise Bermudez for joining us as well. Moving on, item number 5, Mayor Bronin with accompanying resolution regarding the $2 million grant for the reconstruction of Bartholomew Avenue, which would change the source of the local match to reflect the latest planning, which is item number 3 on our January 25th meeting. And I believe that we have our Deputy Director of Development Services, Mr. Randall Davis, here to address the committee.
Yes, sir. So would you like me to tell you what we're doing on this? So basically what's happened is when this project originally was conceived, there was we were doing a certain amount of Bartholomew Ave as part of a streetscape project, as well as a water sanitation project. And at that time, the MDC was part of this. They were going to be doing a stormwater upgrade, I guess, so to speak, and they were committing $1.6 million to the project. Subsequent to that engagement with them, the city decided to extend the project, so we're doing more Bartholomew Avenue, which means that the city is putting more money into the project, approximately $1.317 million. At some point in November, December, MDC pulled out of the project. They decided that they did not need to do this stormwater upgrade and that they didn't need to do it for 10 or 15 years. Because of the amount of money that the city already had in the project, we now have enough money to meet the requirements for the local match. So what this resolution is doing is reflecting the change in the circumstances, which is there's some storm separation that we're not doing. It's not necessary for the other part of the streetscape project. And it should go out to bid. We're currently scheduled to go out to bid in March for the entire project, both phase 1 and phase 2.
Thank you, sir. And what's the total cost of the project? I know that we want to approve a $2 million grant, but is there any addition?
Total cost of the project is $3,317,916, of which the city is currently committed to $1,317,916.
And how long is this project going to take?
That is a good question. The contract is supposed to be substantial completion by the summer of 22, and the project should be closed by December of 22, which is also a change from the original because of the fact that we added the additional amount of Bartholomew onto it.
And another question I have, what is this project going to do regarding parking? Is it going to improve parking? Are there going to be any structures? I know there was some conversation about maybe a garage being erected to alleviate the street parking that currently exists.
Correct. So currently with the existing streetscape, it is not going to, I mean, obviously it's a $3 million project, so it's not going to be erecting a garage. DDS has other projects potentially in the pipeline potentially for a garage, but that won't happen under this existing project. One of the things that this project will do is provide some street calming by adding, I want to use the right term, because there are two different terms used for the raised portion, and because I'm not the specialist in this area. One of them is a large area that's bigger than 6 feet, so it will slow cars down when they have to drive over it. So it should keep parking where it is. I don't have the exact numbers, but I don't expect there to be a significant change in the parking as a result of this project.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Sanchez.
Yes, are you talking about the bump outs at the crosswalk?
Yes. So
okay.
so it won't just be bump outs, but there'll be 3 areas where we'll have a raised crosswalk, basically. 2
Right.
of them will be like speed bumps, but one of them will be a large crosswalk area.
Right. So basically the speed bump will be wide enough to create the crosswalk, but then at the end of that speed bump, at the curb will be a bump out like what we see in Park Street and some of the other streets,
Yes.
for traffic calming.
Yes.
So my question is, if you can, with a quick summary, what's phase one and what's phase two?
So phase one and phase two was really just a design, because when we originally started design, we were not going to do the whole street. So when I'm talking about phase one and phase two, I apologize. I was talking about the design of the project. The construction will be the entire project. Once they start, they'll just do the whole street.
Okay, thank you. And does it still incorporate the bioswales to capture the rainwater so it alleviates some of the flooding issues that was there in the past?
So I did, when I talked with our staff person that was doing this, that was one of my concerns when MDC pulled out. I wanted to know what the impact would be of flooding, and we reached out to the consultant, and they are making mitigations for the flooding that was existing, although we as a department are not doing anything to the MDC structure underneath. So
Is that CDM Smith?
It is.
It is, okay. And is there, so are they, as far as CDM Smith, not MDC, but CDM Smith, are they still participating to help or did they finish participating to help with the planning to alleviate the flooding?
So as I understand it, when I asked the question, they sent to me and to our staff an analysis of what the flooding was and how it would be mitigated. So that, I think that's the question that you're asking. So that's what I want to do, is make sure that, in particular, I think at Park Street and the end of Bartholomew, sometimes where there was flooding, and so they are designing it in a way to alleviate that.
Oh, cool. And then, yeah, I'm sorry, I don't mean to take it up, but
That's
now
okay.
there's a parking lot on the west side. Is that part of the project?
No, the parking lot itself, to my knowledge, is not part of the project. And I would have to check on that to be precise, because I have, looked at some of this, because the parking lots are private parking lots. So as part of the streetscape project, we would not be redoing a wholesale parking lot.
Okay, and then just to make sure I understand, so we're talking about Bartholomew and Park Street all the way down to Bartholomew and Hamilton Street, right?
Yeah, let me get it right. I don't want to give you the wrong information. I apologize on that, Commissioner.
That's okay.
And of course, that's going to be the one note that I didn't keep with myself.
Well, that's okay.
Yep. I will get that to you immediately.
All right, and my last one, the
Hamilton Street to Park Street, yes.
Okay, and then where the overpass where the train goes over in the fast track, if I recall, I believe that was part of the project, also lighten it up with different colors and murals inside internally, so it's more friendlier for pedestrians to walk through.
That was part of and is still part of the project.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you, Councilwoman Surgeon.
Through you, Mr. Chair, I can't think of Randall's last name, just had a mental block. Mr. Davis, question for you. If I remember correctly, my memory's going, didn't we do something? Is it a phase one we accepted, or was it the reapportionment of the money when MDC came out of the project about last month or so, or 2 months ago? Wasn't that something that was on the council agenda?
So yes, there was something on the council agenda a couple of months ago, because I'm trying to look back at our paperwork. So at the last minute, MDC changed all of this in December, and I believe that we asked for a resolution that, because I think these two might have had two different paths, and I want to make sure I'm answering your question properly. Mm-hmm. So we knew that this changed in December. So this is the first time I think that it's at council. Could you repeat your question? Because No,
I think it's a month or so ago, there was a resolution on the council agenda where it did talk about MDC pulling out of the project.
Yeah.
We may have to increase the funds. I think it was at 1.6 million. I can't remember exactly.
So my recollection is that we weren't asking for an increase in funds, but two things happened. So we did make and I'm not sure which specific thing came to council, so much paperwork goes for me, but for this project, I know we made a $21,000 change to it as a result of the withdrawal of MPC from the project. We had a $21,000 impact, which DDS was absorbing. Separate from that, the contract also is extending until 2022 because it was supposed to originally end a little bit sooner. So that's what you might have seen. We were not asking for any additional funding to my knowledge. Phase two, if we're talking about phase two, so we designed two different segments of Bartholomew, right? So we had received and been authorized for phase one design. And then earlier this year, so it was more than a couple months ago, phase two of design was authorized. Maybe it was in the summer, so that we could contract it out as one piece. So I think that's what you may be.
So did we put any funds up for the phase one portion of the project from the city
Yes,
side?
the original amount, if I have it correct, I'm trying to think about how much was added. So just bear with me for a moment. Because this particular resolution doesn't have the separation of the phase one and phase two, I don't know the differentiation. I just know the entire amount that we are paying is 1.3. But some of that is phase one and some of that is phase two. Because I'm looking at the last piece, what we're asking you to do, which is to recognize that the match source has changed. But you're correct.
So I'm all right. So let me get my mind around this. So this phase two, this 2 million that so we have a grant for 2 million, and our matching fund is 1.6.
1.7, excuse me, 1,307. I'm going to say it right to you. $1,317,915.
That's the city of Hartford matching funds.
Correct.
And the total project was, I believe you said, what, 3,317,000?
That's correct.
And that's what this 2 million, accepting this 2 million grant will do to complete the entire project.
Correct. However, so I understand where the confusion may be.
Yeah.
We have already accepted the grant funding previously. All this resolution is doing is reflecting the fact that when we originally submitted this in 2016, we reflected that the matching funding was coming from MDC, but MDC pulled out of the project in December. So all the resolution is doing is reflecting that the money that the city already has in the project, we're not putting any additional funds besides phase one and phase two, will be used as the match now. So we had to change our contractual documents and things in the back end.
Okay, got you. Okay, right. Okay,
sorry for that. I know it's a little bit
no. That it clarifies a lot. So therefore, so it's now a city project, not with a partnership with MDC.
Correct.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Davis.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Any other questions from my colleagues? Seeing none. Councilwoman, Council President, sorry.
I'd like to make a favorable recommendation to send this item back to council with a favorable recommendation.
Second.
Motion has been made by Council President Rosado and second by Councilman John Gale to send this item back to council with a favorable recommendation. Any discussion? Any discussion? Seeing none, let all signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposals? Any abstentions? Councilwoman Bermudez, are you in favor or?
I said aye.
Okay, sorry, I didn't hear you. Just wanted to make sure your vote was recorded. Okay, no opposals, no abstentions. The ayes have it. This item is passed to the next council meeting with a favorable recommendation. Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Davis. Bye-bye.
Moving on, we'll start from the beginning. The resolution requesting that the Court of Common Council create a task force to evaluate the prospects of implementing a UBI pilot program in the city of Hartford, which is item 14 on the previous agenda. The chair will entertain a motion.
I'd like to entertain a motion to postpone this till the next OMBGA meeting.
Second.
And property set. Motion has been made by Council President Rosado, second by Councilman Gale to postpone this to the next OMBGA meeting. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposals, any extensions? Seeing none, hearing none, the ayes have it. This item is postponed to the next meeting. Item number 2, resolution requesting that Max State Square LLC and FPE State Square LLC provide a report on or before March 1st, 2021, consistent with its obligation under the tax relief. The chair entertain a motion.
Move to postpone this to the next committee meeting.
Second the motion.
It has been, motion has been made by Councilman Gale and seconded by Council President to postpone this item to the next OMBGA meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, let all signify by saying aye. Those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Any opposals, abstentions? Seeing none, the ayes have it. This item has been postponed to the next meeting. Item number 3, a resolution to appoint Leticia Marulanda to the Internal Audit Commission as council's designated appointee. The chair entertain a motion.
Like to make a motion to postpone to the next OMBGA meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made by Council President, second by Councilman Gale, to postpone this item to the next OMBGA meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, let all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Abstentions? Seeing none, hearing none, the ayes have it. This item is postponed to the next OMBGA meeting. Item number 6, resolution to appoint Ted C. as council's appointee to the Internal Audit Commission.
Move to postpone this to the next council meeting.
Second.
Motion's been made and properly seconded by Councilman Gale and Council President Rosado to postpone this item to the next OMBGA meeting. Any discussion? Seeing none, hearing none, let all signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any nays and abstentions? Seeing none, hearing none, the ayes have it. This item is postponed to the next next OMBGA committee meeting. All right, is there any other business to discuss? Seeing none, hearing none, I now can adjourn this meeting, this special meeting. Thank you all very much for your time. Councilman Sanchez, do you have something to say, or are you just waving?
No, I'm just waving, good night.
Thank you very much. I wish everyone a good night. The parking ban is in effect. It started at 4 o'clock with the end time to be determined. So everyone out there, please stay safe and just stay healthy. And this meeting is now adjourned. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Good night.
Good night.
Mhm.
Loneliness and thoughts of suicide. If you or a loved one is struggling with mental health issues, you are not alone. Let's take care of ourselves and each other. Be the one to start the conversation.
Durante estos tiempos sin precedentes, todos debemos cuidar nuestra salud, tanto física como mental. Muchos adultos mayores están luchando con ansiedad, soledad, aislamiento y pensamientos suicidas. Si tú o un ser querido está luchando con problemas de salud mental, no estás solo. Cuida de los demás y a ti mismo. Sé el primero en iniciar la conversación.